Hello and welcome back to Liberty, Missouri for Gatekeeper and Heiser Media's combined coverage of this year's Grip Equipment 42nd Kansas City Wide Open presented by DFX Discs. This is a Disc Golf Pro Tour Q Series event. We're very excited to bring you this coverage. I'm Nathan Johnson, joined in the booth today by Dan Brooks-Wells. What's up, Dan?
What's going on, man? We are doing good. It's hot. It's windy. We're trying to keep it in bounds here.
Yeah, some struggles from our players on the front nine. Only GT Hancock was able to stay under par. As we saw in round one, though, it can be a tale of two nines. Guys have plenty of holes to turn this thing around. Some of our players from the chase cards and beyond making some moves up the leaderboard. We will see how this shapes out as we are now halfway through the tournament.
Yeah, and we are not slowing down here. This is a challenging hole. Hole 10, par 3, 487 feet. A lot of people pitch up to this landing zone. If you don't, all this long grass is OB. So you can go for this green, but, good luck.
Yeah, good luck is right, especially in the windy conditions we saw on the front nine are not going to slow down anytime soon. So this is a bonus birdie if I've ever seen one.
Absolutely. And a lot of people who go for it, they end up on that left side in the trees. It's not OB, but it's a tough scramble out. You could see Hancock does not want any part of that OB, and he, I think, wisely lays up, especially in this wind.
Yeah, you can see the disc dancing around out there. Parker Welck opting for the layup play as well. Looks like it might be a driver from Kiefer. Let's see if he... Nope, just kidding. Just a layup.
This hole, a lot of guys, they get it in practice, right? Like they throw 5 or 6 shots. You can get 1 or 2 to stick, maybe more. So they're like, all right, I'm going to go for this during the tournament. And then conditions change. Maybe you screw it up, and all of a sudden you're throwing OB or you're throwing to the trees to the left. And it's just not worth it this early in the round, this early in the tournament.
Yeah, maybe we'll see some of things change for round 3. But as for today, we see 4 layups here on hole 10. Pretty standard up shots for these guys. Just going to drop a nice putter shot into the green.
Yeah. In this hole, this can be the most exciting hole, or it can be the most boring hole. And I'll take boring, if I'm being honest right now, if I were playing. But like you said, tomorrow we might see a little bit more exciting. Welck leaving it a little deep. A little bit of a tester coming back for his par.
Yeah, but a nice shot from Kiefer keeps him close. So, yeah, about a 25, 30-foot tailwind putt for Parker Welck here. Oh, and just a little bit high.
Yeah, a couple high chains. And please remember, if you did not watch the front nine, we have heard that Welck's car got stolen and his backpack, his discs with it. So he is playing with all new discs.
And that's a tough miss for Kevin Kiefer to swallow. Executed his game plan perfectly. Gave himself a 15-foot, 20-foot putt for par, but just a little wide right. Maybe a little overcompensation for that right to left wind.
Potentially, it can really get in your head. I mean, it is just a mind game out there.
Yeah, this hole actually played kind of middle of the pack at a 3.58 average in terms of difficulty, but we only saw 1 birdie on the day, Nolan Ramser with the 2. So, I think a lot of the field just opting to play this one for par, and who can blame them?
Not me. Headed to hole 11. This is a par 3, 383 feet. You'll see a lot of people flex to the left of that small little tree. Now there's OB lining the left, the right, behind. A little bit of an elevated green as well. So again, taking like an overstable fairway or an overstable driver, having it hit that top left side and kind of flex over to the right.
Yeah, something like this is absolutely perfect. Just needs it to check up.
Sit down. Yeah,
Just
we saw
barely.
yeah, just barely. We saw yesterday a couple guys go a little deep after hitting the gap. So nice to see it check up. This needs to get down, and it does.
Yeah, that left side OB can come into play pretty quickly if you leave the disc a little high and don't give it enough turn. We saw a couple players find that in round one. But this is looking like a great release angle for Welck. See if it has the distance, and yeah, finds
Oh
that
yeah,
slope.
it was pretty perfect right there. So Kiefer definitely wants to follow that line. Looking
Looks,
pretty good.
yeah, well thrown. Comes up a bit short, but common result on this hole. Just put it at the base of that hill. Take your circle's edge birdie putt. Jake Monn going to be up first. Out in circle two. Just floats it a bit wide.
GT looking like a 30 to 35 footer coming back. Bang!
That was a confident putt right there from GT. Hancock. Knocks down the birdie from just outside the circle. Looking to start to pull away from some of these other guys on the lead card.
Oh man, and because it's a little elevated, this can happen on the screen. Just kind of going back and forth.
Yeah, a little bit of wind and good correction there to knock it down, but tough birdogey to take from Jake Monn there with the three putt. Kiefer after a very nice drive. Ooh, some weird reaction in the basket, but it does stick.
Yeah, there's a good bounce back putt after that miss on the last hole. And same thing for Welck.
I think that was Parker's first birdie of the day, so finally gets the monkey off the back
Oh man,
on the 11th hole of the round.
not bad. Only one over, but we are headed to hole 12. This is a par 4, 652 feet. Hit this tight gap. Get to this landing zone here. Some people try and push for here. And once you're here, it's another tight gap up into this green. So we did see this play as a full stroke. I think more than a full stroke over par yesterday.
Yeah, used to be a par 5. So it's not too surprising. This is looking nice out of the hand from Hancock, but just a bit right. Catches a late tree. But not a bad result.
No, not at all. Now, a lot of people like to do a putter or a mid, at least maybe when it was a par 5, so that if you did kick a tree, you'd, not kick so far or a little bit straighter of a flight. But now, since it's a par 4, people are taking fairways and like trying to flip it up the gap and get as deep as they can. And that's not a good kick.
That's the danger of this hole. Get a little aggressive can be lead to a bad result. But this looks very nicely thrown from Jake Monn. If it keeps pushing straight all the way to the corner, oh yeah.
Yeah, that's a pretty good shot right there. He's gonna be looking at the gap, having a shot into the basket. Oh no, that looks like it went into the right side rough.
Yeah, just trying to lay up to the corner, but unable to get the disc to stick in the fairway. Kevin getting aggressive with the flick roller, and it is going to pay off. Gets all the way down to the bottom of the hill.
I love it. So I'm a big fan of that play. I see that a lot. I think that's absolutely the right decision. Just the way the fairway plays. And Welck pitching himself up to have a shot into the basket. I'd say that's a smart play as well.
Yeah, Hancock came up a bit short of the ideal landing zone, so he's probably at this point just going to pitch down kind of the bottom of the hill. We'll have a very straightforward jump putt up. Actually, might even have a long look at it. But either way, a very stress-free 4.
Yeah, and again, like you said, like yesterday, I played a whole stroke over par, so taking a 4 feels good. I'd say it probably still feels like a birdie, and a 3 probably still feels like an eagle.
Yeah, especially if they looked at the scores from yesterday. This was a absolutely incredible drive from Jake Monn, but he just pulls, or not pulls, early releases that flex forehand. Just like that, he's now finds himself scrambling for a par.
Sounded like he hit something.
Yeah, I think just caught that last tree on the left.
And this is where Kevin's roller ended up. That was incredible. And he also has a stress-free par here. I don't know. I don't know if this is too far to run with a jumper. I guess not.
Yeah, a little half bid. Jake's definitely going to try to make this one. This would be for his par as well. And just clips a branch. This putt is for Parker's bogey. Knocks it down. He's been solid from that 25, 30-foot range today. Just not quite giving himself enough birdie looks to capitalize on it.
We got some good tap-in pars by Kiefer and Hancock. This wasn't, surprisingly, this actually was not the hardest hole on the course. It did play .95 over par, but again, not the hardest. I think players after day one kind of wised up, maybe. Hole 13, par 3, 364 feet. Plays pretty much like an island. There's OB surrounding the pin. And nobody's really laying up here. Everyone's going for it. There is like a layup zone, but it's nobody does it. So this probably plays... Oh, sorry for interrupting, but it probably plays more like 380 up the hill.
Yeah, something like that. I was surprised to see more of the straight shot from Hancock there. We saw a lot of players throwing the backhand go for more of a straight / subtle turnover line at it. These guys just going straight hyzer. That one leaks a little short left for Kiefer. Doesn't quite hang on, unfortunately. But there is a lot of room out left if you've got the forehand power to do it. Not surprising to see Parker go with that line.
Yeah, and I like this line a little bit better than the backhand for the hyzer purposes. If you swing it too far on the backhand hyzer, it can catch some trees, and this is a good shot here by Welck.
Yeah, finds himself 20, 25 feet long. Jake now coming off a couple of bogeys. Looking to put this one close. That's a nice looking line if it checks up.
Oh, yeah. There's really not much room for error, though, on that shot, right? Like, if he goes a little bit more to the right, he's in the tree. Goes left, he might be looking to be in. What a stepper from Kiefer to save his par.
Yeah, doesn't look too happy about it, but that is still a great stroke to save and avoid any further damage. Good birdie putt from Parker Welck. Players seem to have figured out this hole a little more than day one. We saw some struggles keeping it inbounds on this green semi-blind tee shot. Hancock
Hancock
with.
here. He is the only one on our card still under par, and he keeps giving himself opportunities. No. Was it high? Was the slight headwind? We might never know.
Yes. Nice birdie putt from Jake Monn. Not the round he was looking for today, but if he's able to finish strong and grab a couple birdies, keep his total score under par, he can definitely still scrap together a good finish at this tournament. 3 rounds at this course, it's tough to stay consistently putting together hot rounds every single time. So still strokes to be gained on people.
Right, you are, and we are at hole 14, par 4, 859 feet. Kind of trying to shoot out here to this landing zone. Tough to do. There's a Mando you got to get around as well, and then getting it down and into this green OB behind the basket. OB to the left of the basket. OB to the right, all the way down this fairway. Now, this tee has changed from last year. This was a pretty soft hole last year. Now it is tough because you need to push this drive farther than what is comfortable. And
oh, what a horrible reaction as Parker hits those branches on the left-hand side and kicks him OB right. You could see he was just in disbelief.
Yeah. This is looking pretty good. It's going to finish high left. But with the angle of this hill, I'm not sure exactly what he's going to be looking at or if the green is approachable. It seems like to get to the spot that you could last year, you got to have a really late flip. And that's really technical, and it's really dangerous too, flipping into that right side OB.
I think most of the field this year kind of content to just play this hole for par. Unless you throw a really good tee shot, it is a demanding second to get all the way up there for a putt. And even if you come up 40 feet short, it's a terrifying putt to run with the OB behind the elevated basket. So Parker just going to have to pitch around the corner now after finding that early OB right. We'll see if he's able to save a bogey from there.
Yeah, and I don't think these guys are going to get to access the green, as that one hyzers out early OB.
Yeah, even this layup shot is tough with it being blind around the corner. Just having that distance control dialed in and picking out your aiming point correctly. Is Jake getting aggressive?
I think he is. Why not, right? I mean, and this is the only way to get there.
Oh, it was on a great line.
Did he? He went deep, didn't he?
I think so. And it looked like a slower disc, too. I think he just went like mid-range, but it just kept going.
Yeah. Yeah, it is a good drop, downhill. And look at this shot from Welck.
Wow, yeah, that is huge to limit the damage to just a single bogey after that tough break on the tee shot. Touchy approaches here for the players. Well thrown from Hancock, going to give himself an uphill putt, putting away from the OB as well.
It's got to sit down. Does stay in bounds. Has about a third, maybe 25, 30 foot look there.
Yeah, you can actually see Jake's disc still floating on the pond out there. So this is a par comebacker that he is able to knock down.
It's funny. That's a good putt. That's a good save by him. That's probably not something he's worried about on that second shot. This guy is going OB deep.
Yeah, hard thing to do. Nice putt from Kevin Kiefer for his bogey. This plays the second hardest hole on the course. 2 birdies were picked up by Waden Sides and Jake Hebenheimer. Good putt and scramble from Parker. Keep that to a bogey.
Yeah, pretty tough. We basically have 3 holes here that play a full stroke over par.
Yeah. It's, I mean, this course was a Silver Series last year, and they made it harder.
They really did.
So that tells you.
Somebody came and shot like 11 down or 12 or whatever, and the designer was like, that's enough of that.
Yeah, too good. Sorry, Gannon Burr. Never
Yeah.
again.
We are going to see this pond again on this hole here, hole 15, par 3, 288 feet. A lot of people like to take this left side gap with a forehand and make sure we get it over the pond and into this green. It's kind of an ace run. You were saying that yesterday because you just don't want to be short.
Yeah, definitely don't want to come up short. If you do, too, you're probably not getting your disc back in the swamp. Oh, no, this is a misrelease. That one's gone.
Yeah, I don't think we have divers here either. I'm not getting in that water, but maybe. You never know.
Would not recommend it. You will come out with multiple diseases, some of which haven't been discovered yet.
This
Hancock.
is pulled. So, like, the forehand's weird here, right? Because you want something that's overstable that's going to finish right, but that tree that he kind of hit is kind of in the way. So, like, having something flip up on a forehand and push, I find to be a little bit more effective. And he catches that tree as well on the backhand and drops right in.
Yeah, it's a weird shaped gap. Doesn't really feel comfortable either way. See if Kevin can be the first one to. Doesn't necessarily hit the gap, but he does make it through, and it's going to have himself an outside look at the birdie. But yeah, some struggles from this players on this hole. It's not as easy as it looks from the camera angle we're looking at from the tee.
I think this is one everybody wants to get compared to like a lot of the other holes on this course. There's a good upshot there by Monn.
Yeah, I mean, at 288 feet, you got to find a way to at least give yourself a putt, right? Whether or not that's taking the traditional line or maybe going the right side or.
Yeah, I don't see the right side taken often. We did see Silas do it yesterday. It didn't work out, but it's there. And Kevin takes advantage of hitting the gap that he did hit and knocking down the bird.
Good putt for Welck as well.
Yeah, and again, he keeps making those, like you said, 25 footers, and I know he's at 3 up, but he must have hit like 5 or 6 of them by now. Good save by Hancock, having to pitch across.
Just kind of playing some boring golf, He's been able to stay in bounds, grab his pars, and his lead continues to grow, at least on his closest competitors on this card.
First hole, par 5 on this course, hole 16, 959 feet. Getting out this gap. If you can get it up to this hill, you can launch it down to this bottleneck, but you must be careful. If you end up in the right side, it is jail. If you end up in the left side, it is OB. If you can get a disc flying into here and get a nice skip, you can get to the pin.
Yeah, multiple demanding shots on this hole. Tight gap off the tee. We saw a lot of guys, too, make the mistake of throwing it a little high and not flipping the disc up enough can bring that left side OB into play. But this looks nice from Kevin. Gets that nice subtle hyzer flip to find the fairway.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. I really like a fast driver that is definitely one of your more understable ones. I'd rather make the mistake of just turning over a bit too much. And you could hear Hancock there say, it's a little short than probably the ideal drive, but anything in the fairway and you can still hunt for a birdie.
This is definitely a misrelease from Jake Monn. Pulls that one early.
Yeah. Yeah, we talked about it a little bit yesterday. It's hot out there, maybe a little bit muggy. Grip can sometimes be an issue, but not for Welck because he rips this one down the fairway. This is not.
This is almost re-tee territory.
Almost. Like, can you pitch it out to like an open spot? Is that even possible from there?
He does. We'll see what that lie looks like. Not great, but well executed to find the fairway. He'll have an outside chance to save a par from there.
Yeah, he's gonna have to really nail one on his fourth shot. It needs to sit down, and it does. He'll be looking into that gap we were talking about, skipping one up to the basket. So this is a common play because you have all this air to the left. You can kind of throw it over the OB and let it drift right. But, that needs to... Okay, the downhill takes it. But a lot of people, what happens is they get nervous to the OB and they finish hard right into the trees. I love where Kevin is. I love the stable disc that's going to turn a little bit out of the hand and ride down the hill. This one looks high.
Yeah, going to fade out a bit left. I think he's past, not past, but checks up short of the OB, but it's just going to be a weird angle into the green from there. Don't know what he'll be able to do.
And Monn did find a little bit more of the rough. Good recovery shot. I mean, he was like patent pending from a knee. He got all the way down that hill. That was impressive.
Yeah, very well thrown scramble. Should set him up with a straight shot into the green. Hancock is in a great spot, and this is well thrown as well. Going to be inside the circle for birdie.
Yeah, and he played this hole pretty perfectly in the sense of didn't need a ton of distance on any shot, and now he's inside the circle.
Yeah, pretty much identical to what Parker Welck did. Puts himself a little bit closer for his birdie. The struggles continue for Jake Monn. Just pulls that up shot a bit.
Kevin's looking a little saucy through this inside gap.
Trying to cut the corner and kind of is successful.
Yeah, I mean, he's in the middle, right? Circle 2.
Yeah, gonna have another one of those steppers. He's been pretty good with them so far today. See if he can nail another from about 42 feet or so.
Double metal.
Just a bit low.
There's a good birdie by Hancock, increasing that lead. Keeping it consistent.
Yeah, especially this back nine. Been playing nice and clean. Never really in any trouble. Pushing the lead to 7 strokes now over Kevin Kiefer. About like we saw at the score check-in at the beginning of this 9, there are some guys out there making some moves. So he can't just give up now. Got to keep pushing for these last 2 holes.
Very true. And we are at hole 17, par 4, 461 feet, dogleg to the left. So you're trying to get to a landing zone right about here and then pitching it up this hill. So I'd say the difficult shot is getting to that precise landing zone. Now, if you go too far, it drops off. We saw some forehand rollers. We saw some backhand flip-up hyzers. Looks like that's what GT is going to opt for.
Just pulls it a bit, catches the right side tree.
Yeah, and he's still going to be looking to pitch up to that first landing zone, I would assume.
Yeah, this hole's basically a near U-turn, so it's hard to make much progress if you don't get to the corner, Parker, with a similar result.
That could be tricky from there. Looked okay out of the hand, but we heard a tree pretty quickly. If you end up, it gets even tougher if you kick left because you're extremely cut off then.
That one was looking nice as well for Monn, but also catches the left side tree. Demanding tee shot on this hole. These guys all going to be left scrambling, just trying to grab a par. Not a bad recovery shot from Welck. He'll have a chance to do that from there.
GT nice and smooth. Looks like he's up against that tree, but he should have a shot into the basket. Ooh, that took a nasty kick to the left. Like I said, it's kind of jail over there. He might have something like up above his head. We'll just have to find out. Kevin getting aggressive.
Yeah, trying to go for the green, but just doesn't quite turn it enough. Didn't have the height. So yeah, a couple of guys now over there on that left side in the thick rough. Parker kind of got through, might have a long bid uphill at that one, but just some struggles from our card here, just trying to get through this one.
Oh, man. And that's GT was looking at the gap you want to be looking at. He does catch a guardian tree, and this is that left side I was talking about.
Looking like a forehand roller. I think that never quite got a chance to roll, but still made it through.
That was pretty good. He was a little closer than I had originally thought, but that is a good recovery shot. Be tapping in his par.
Yeah, good run from Parker. Catches the band. Couple of outside looks coming up. Hancock with a chance to save his par as well from circle 2. Ooh, heavy chains, but doesn't stick.
Just left side. Kiefer for his par as well.
Oh, and he does knock it down from circle 2. That's a big time putt. Trying to hang around, see if he can find himself on the lead card. If he can birdie 18, I'd say it gives him a chance to stick around for the third and final round.
Yeah, we do know that 18 is eagleable as well, so there's always that option if you can get the distance off the tee.
Yeah, Jake was the only one to get it in round 1, so maybe he can end his round today on a highlight. See what he can do here shortly.
And here is hole 18, par 5, 924 feet. You are trying to crush one to the top of this hill. And if you can, get even a little farther. You can take this right side to kind of cut the corner. A lot of people go to the left side as well. There is another landing zone. People land right about here and pitch it up and into this green. All the tall grass is OB. Behind the basket is OB as well. So this is a cool hole to end on. This shot is fun to end on. You just get to rip one.
Bit overturned from Kevin. Kind of cut rolls into the right side. Hopefully doesn't go too far in. Could be a little bit of trouble for him. Jake is going to go huge.
He does also pull it a bit. I don't even know what's over there, to be honest. Doesn't look great.
No, it does not look fun. Safer line from Hancock.
Yeah, and that's ideal. He'll be able to pitch up to that landing zone and hopefully have an easy look in for his bird.
Yeah, no reason to get aggressive. If you're him, looks like Parker's trying to bite off a little more, but also just a bit overturned.
Yeah, and maybe there's a little bit of wind that wasn't there yesterday that is keeping these guys just turned a little more than usual, and this is rough.
Yeah, they call it that for a reason. Not fun, not a great shot for Kevin either. These guys are now going to be pitching down to that second landing zone you talked about, Dan. Just looking to pitch over from there, although that catch is a bit early for Parker, so that might even be a tough third shot.
This is looking pretty good. Yeah, that's pretty ideal right there.
Yeah, I'll just have a nice pitch up into the green over that out of bounds from there. Hancock, we'll see if he goes up the gut here into that second landing zone. Okay, going around. Pretty stress-free shot.
Yeah, and he's just picking these par fives apart, right? Nothing too crazy. Hit the landing zone, hit the landing zone, hit the green.
Looks like Parker wants to go over from here. This is going to play pretty far. Also slightly uphill to go with the standstill forehand, but he executes it well, just barely gets in bounds.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a big time shot. If that doesn't cross, he's going to be rethrowing from just in front. So nice shot there. Hancock pulls this one a bit, going to have a longer look than he'd like for his birdie, but still right around circle's edge.
Monn doing the same thing, a little bit closer than GT. Maybe there's some wind kind of pushing it to the right. See if Kevin adjusts for that.
Yeah, he does. That's a good adjustment. Tailwind kind of just dropping those discs. Kiefer will be able to save the par. So Hancock here with a birdie look to finish his round strong, but just a bit low.
You can hear this wind picking up. Look at these banners. Good. Solid strike there from Welck to end his day. A little roller coaster at the end here, but considering he's not playing with his own disc, that's not a bad round.
Yeah, 2 over to follow his 4 down round 1. Definitely still should keep him in the top 10 going into the final day. Stiff headwind for Hancock on this par putt now.
There you go. Strikes one in there. The only player on our card to finish under par in these tough conditions on this tough course.
Yeah, solid round, to back up his hot round from round 1. Obviously, I'm sure he would have loved to back up the 7 with another 7, but to finish at 2 and keep him moving in the right direction is just what he needed. As we take a look at our card, and we'll take a look at the leaderboard here in a second. We're going to have 3 new players on our lead card joining GT Hancock for the final round. Micah Groth, Drew Gibson, Braden Sides, all able to shoot 4 under par and put themselves in contention. We've got one more round here at this year's Kansas City Wide Open, so make sure to tune in. We'll have that coverage coming for you very soon. So make sure to subscribe For Dan Brooks Wells, I'm Nathan Johnson. We'll see you next time.